Hello, welcome back to my kitchen. Today is a momentous occasion because if I drop this on the right day, it's the exact 1-year anniversary of me starting this channel. I made my first video March 2nd of 2021, and by my calculations, this should drop on March 2nd of 2022. So it's been a year and I've made 50 videos. Well, this is gonna be the 51st video. So I've only missed 1 week somehow. I thought I've missed more than that. Maybe I doubled up, I don't remember, but I've made a lot of videos and it's been a year, but what a year. That means that this is 51 like well, not new recipes, but like unique recipes that I've for sure made. And it's been a good time. And today I should have made a cake, but we're making chili. And I figured that'd be a much simpler recipe compared to what we did last week, which was a little bit more complicated. So this is a kind of a nice, easy break, a classic, should be simple to do, should be delicious to eat. So why don't we run through the ingredients and then we'll get into cooking. Onions, ground beef, chili powder, cumin, sugar, garlic powder, salt, cayenne, black pepper, tomato paste, beef broth, diced tomatoes, kidney beans, tomato sauce. The first step of today's recipe is, you might be guessing, a prep step because you saw that I had onions in the ingredients list, and typically you have to prepare those, which you do need to prepare them today. Like, we're not gonna just throw a whole onion in there, but they're the only thing that we need to prepare. So I don't think that should be a step all on its own. So we're gonna combine that with cooking the onions. So this first step is going to be to dice the onions and then throw them in a pan and cook them for about 5 minutes. The second step is, super complicated, just like the first step. We're going to be adding in the ground beef to the pan that we already have going with the onions in there and just brown the ground beef. I typically will do plop in the whole thing in whatever form it's in, usually a rectangle, let it kind of brown that side, flip it entirely over so it browns that side, so you kind of have brown all around, and then break it up to then try and brown up the inside. I don't know if that's the correct way. I don't know if that's the best way, but that's the way I do it. If I'm making tacos, which was also the first video that I ever made, or anything else that involves ground beef that I'm blanking on, lasagna, you have to brown spaghetti, all of these things. Ground beef, I cook it pretty much the exact same way. Usually also has onions in it beforehand. This recipe is starting to become more and more appropriate because so far the steps that we're doing is pretty much the exact same steps that I did for the taco video. I should just use those clips. Why am I filming new ones? Anyway, let's brown the ground beef and get on with cooking because I'm rambling now. Now, before the next step, you can have a little bit of arts and crafts if you really want. I like to add all the spices into a container of sort and then dump it in when you have a lot of spices going on. If it's just 2 or 3, I'm just gonna kind of dump those in. But in this situation, there's a lot of spices, so I kind of wanted to make sure I was doing the right thing there, so I put them into a container. And it kind of turns into sand art. So you can have a little sand art session before this next step, which is going to be to add all the spice into the pot along with the tomato paste, mix that up a little bit, kind of get it incorporated. Then we're gonna add in the beef broth, and then we're going to add in the diced tomatoes. Don't drain that, so all the liquid and whatnot still in there. But the kidney beans, you do wanna drain and rinse. And then once all that's in the pot, we're going to bring it to a boil and then reduce it down to a simmer and let it simmer for 20 to 25 minutes. Now the next step kind of really isn't a step, but I didn't want to combine it with the previous step because there's a lot going on in there already. But it's effectively to just turn off the heat and let it rest for 10 minutes. And then I guess also serve, so I'll probably show you me like plating it up, because if I didn't do anything else, it would just be me turning off the burner, which does not make for good YouTube. So hopefully I can get some like action shots of me dropping some cheese or something on there. We'll find out. Filming that last segment, which I don't know what the edit's gonna look like, but I now have a newfound respect for anybody that does any kind of food, filmography, photography kind of situation, like for like adverts and stuff, where they're trying to make it like slow motion, crumbling something over top of it. Because me trying to crumble that cheese or sprinkle it, I don't know words, me trying to sprinkle it over top, it was not great because it just was clumping together. So hopefully it looked decent, I don't know. Hopefully it was bearable. But beyond that, I mean, let's see how it tastes, because its appearance is but a small fraction of the importance of food. The majority is, does it taste good? So let's find out, and then we'll kind of discuss. I mean, it nails what it says it is. It's classic chili. Like, it doesn't have any bells and whistles going on, but it doesn't need those. It is what it is, and it does that well. That being said, I did realize that this is what, my 4th week in a row of making a tomato sauce based dish. I should have made this Cincinnati style, and then it really would have fit the theme, because the last 3 weeks have all been like a tomato sauce something on top of a carb. Because like what, last week was the koshari, which is like that tomato sauce whatnot on top of like the lentils, like macaroni and like the rice. Week before that was meatballs, which on top of pasta. And then the week before that was red beans and rice, so it's on top of rice. I should have made this the Cincinnati style, where it's on top of spaghetti, which, curious, how do you feel about that? Have you had Cincinnati style chili where it's, you know, just, I'm assuming it's normal chili, maybe they do something different to it, but it's just, I mean, I've made it myself where I just made chili and then just made spaghetti and put it on top. I never really specifically made Cincinnati style. I always assumed that it's just on top of spaghetti, but maybe it has some other blends to it. That being said, have you had it? What do you think? Because I personally kind of like it. Maybe it's just like more filling, or maybe the carbs kind of like cut through the super protein levels of this. I don't know why, but this guy likes it, and I'm curious if you've had it and if you like it. What was I talking about now? But this, like, I mean, it's like classic chili. Like, you probably could add more things into it, but you don't need to. Like, it's good how it is. Obviously, I put a little bit of toppings on it to make it a bit more picturesque, but the taste test that I did was pretty much just the chili. I didn't really get any of the sour cream or anything in there. But it's good. It's gonna reheat well, which I know that because, I mean, it's just like stovetop. Put that back on there for like a few minutes. And so I'm excited for that. It's super simple. Anybody can make this. Unless you can't eat meat, then you probably shouldn't. I mean, you can make it. I don't know why you'd make it. It's like, quick ramble, and then I'll let you go. Anytime that I make something like baked good, people ask, is it gluten-free? Like, so they know I'm gluten-free because they're asking this question. And I'm like, yeah, it's gluten-free. I'm not gonna make something that's not gluten-free, because anytime I make anything, this guy needs to taste it. And like, unless someone was like dying and was like, please make me a cake that has gluten in it, I'd be like, all right. But any other situation, sampling it, first dibs, this guy. So, moral of the story, Give this a go. It's delicious, it's easy. You can do it, I believe in you. And on that note, bye Mom, still not dead. See ya.